The Delhi Disaster Management Authority is again meeting on 4th of February to decide upon issues such as reopening of schools, reviewing the night curfew, along with that, whether the gyms and fitness centers in the national capital should be reopened. I'm joined by a delegation of parents who had earlier reached out to Education Minister Manish Sisodia asking for immediate reopening of the schools in the national capital. And when that did not happen, they have been upset and have been raising their voice on the social media. I'm joined by Yamini Iyer, ma'am. Why do you people want these schools to be immediately reopened? What is the logic and argument behind it?
I would say there's absolutely no logic or argument for keeping schools closed when every other aspect of our economic lives is open. Schools have been closed now for nearly 2 years. India today boasts of being one of the few countries in the world that have had school closures from the beginning of the pandemic. Every single international institution, every single public health institution, almost universally, all doctors, epidemiologists, infectious disease folks have said very, very clearly that schools now should be the last to close and the first to open. India is one of the few countries, and Delhi as a city in particular, has changed this policy and turned it on its head to ensure that schools were the first to close and the last to open. Our children have been out of school for 2 years. The losses to their emotional development and psychological and learning growth have been significant. There is enough evidence to tell you that the lifelong earning losses for these children is going to be significant. The World Bank estimates a loss of over 400 billion. The ADB estimates a similar loss. We cannot afford to keep our children out of school anymore. This country has a right to education. This right has been completely violated now for 2 years. We need to open schools now.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, if you could share your name, and if whether your ward studies in which class, that detail as well. I want to understand from you, what is the biggest challenge that you are facing as a parent, and as well as for your child who is studying in the school? What learning gaps that is quite visible in the past 20 months that you are noticing?
So my name is Tanya Agarwal. I have a 6-year-old. The last time that he was in physical school was when he was in nursery. So he doesn't even remember what school is like. Physical school would have been easily 6-7 hours for him, where he would have had a chance to interact with his teachers, with his peers, play with his friends, chat with them, laugh with them, do team sports, do competitions, fight over toys in the playroom, fight over, who goes first in the playground. All of that is completely missing. Online schooling is not online education. I think particularly for younger kids, it's very, very important for them to be in a physical space where they have peer interaction. Social play is very, very important for them. It teaches them how to be a human being, right, how to take turns, how to share, how to negotiate, how to compromise. It's not fair for my child to be stuck with adults. And while we can try to make him meet friends and all, it's not the same as school, right? And in terms of academics as well, I mean, the online hours are a fraction of what the physical would have been. There is a heavy reliance on parents to teach. If parents don't have the time, they need to shell out extra money for private tuitions. ASER tells you that the number of children now taking private tuition has gone up. It's 40% now. So it's a financial burden on us as well. Not only do we have to provide the infrastructure for the child at home with separate devices, a quiet space. I don't think everybody has that, right? But on top of that, either the parent has to sacrifice their productive hours, suffer loss of income, and teach their child so that the child can keep up, or they have to pay extra for a tutor. So for both, I think parent and child, it's not sustainable.
Right. It's a mix of problems that you're facing, and more importantly, this is a new point that I'm noticing. That as young as 6-year-olds might be facing much bigger problems compared to those studying in the higher grades. Ma'am, last question from you. I want to understand. She's saying that schools, indicating that schools should be reopened right from the lower levels itself. So I want to understand from you as a parent. You want a immediate reopening of schools, but from which grade? Number one. Number two, are you also facing similar kind of problem? If yes, how have you been coping up with it?
Yeah, I mean, my name is Simran, and I have a 5-year-old, and she studies in grade 1. And like Tanya said, she hasn't been to school for 2 years, right? She doesn't remember what school is. And absolutely every Monday morning, the struggle that I have as a parent is she asks me, is it Zoom school? Is it real school? She's figured out that Zoom is not real. I just don't know what we're waiting for, right? This is not real school. It is unreal for a 5-year-old to open a laptop screen and then be told, now do physical exercises, now do jumping jacks.
about the screen time, the amount of time
Absolutely, it's terrible, right? I mean, they're not supposed to be spending more than I think 20 to 30 minutes at a stretch. That's what all pediatricians say. It should almost never at this age exceed 1 or 1.5 hours, and all schools are flouting that. And they have to because the schools are shut, and if they can't impart the curriculum, then nobody will pay their fees, right? So, frankly, we're stuck now in a place where kids are facing lifestyle disorders, they're depressed, they're anxious. The youngest are the most anxious because they can't even comprehend or process what is going on, right? Like, what is this? Mama goes to office.
Immediate reopening of the schools right from the grade one.
Absolutely. The right from nursery, they are suffering the most. They cannot actually deal with this learning which is imparted, virtually. How explain to me if your teacher was teaching you how to write A through a laptop, how would that work? What is it going to take, really? What is it going to take for our policymakers, our decision makers to understand that this is unreal? This is fake school. Our educational outcomes are suffering. The children are suffering. They are anxious. Lifestyle diseases in kids is up. Can you believe it? Obesity is up. Rickets is up. Eyesight weakness is up. What is it going to take to understand that by caging our children, you are not keeping them safe? You are actually worsening things for them. Not for today, because a child who develops obesity today is going to have diabetes 15 years from now. You are creating bigger issues by keeping schools shut.
Thanks a lot for speaking to us. So clearly, the parents are concerned right now. They are saying that for their children, it's not a real school, quote unquote, and they are also saying that this is actually leading to lot more problems. Not only the difficulties in the learning curve, but it could also actually lead to problems in the lifestyle. Issues as well as health concerns that are raising up because of caging the kids inside their homes. With video journalist Alok Das, this is Amit Bhardwaj for India Today from Delhi.